Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Terrell, CEO and co-founder of Grillz University, where we teach entrepreneurs how to start and scale successful grills and jewelry businesses. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you the burnout process for when you're making grills and custom jewelry on your own. So in order for you to actually make grills successfully, you have to do the burnout process in order for you to cast before you can make a finished piece of jewelry. If you're a jeweler and you're at that phase when you want to learn how to cast, then this video would be perfect for you. Now, before we get started, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below so that we can continue to make you awesome videos like this every day. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, before we dive completely into the burnout process, let's actually learn what is the burnout process purpose, right? So the purpose of the burnout process is if you're trying to make a piece of jewelry from start to finish, the first thing you have to do is make a rubber silicone or a wax model of a piece of jewelry. After you have that wax model, you would then encase it inside of a flask like this and pour it in investment. We actually have to burn out that wax. We have to heat up this flask and let that wax burn out, okay? So in order for us to turn this wax into gold, we have to burn out that cavity, make it empty, and then pour in our melted gold. And that's the end of the process. So when you have a kiln like this, you can have any brand of kiln. Before you put your flask inside of there, you will remove your bottom of the base like this. And at that bottom of the base, you will see in the center of the button, this area is called the button. This is where your wax model starts. All right. So we will open up our kiln. We will sit our flask face down inside of the kiln, close it, and then we'll turn on our kiln. As this heats up, that wax will then burn out to the bottom and then evaporate. Once this is fully burnt out and evaporated, we can then melt our metal and then pour it inside of the same area and replace it with gold. So that is the purpose of the burnout process. The only way we can make a complete grill or piece of jewelry is that we have to make a wax model first, burn it out, and then replace it with gold, and then we can officially polish. So now let's go into the steps of understanding the burnout process itself. Now, in order to heat up your flask, this flask must burn out in time temperature intervals, okay? So let's just say, for example, that it takes 3 hours total, 3 hours to burn out this wax, to let it evaporate for it to be completely burned out. So if it takes 3 hours, then that means each hour is going to have a different temperature. So let's just go over an example chart right here so you can see what I mean as the temperature chart and times go up and down. So as we see here on this chart, if we have a 3-hour burnout process, let's say our first hour, we will burn out at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. So once you turn your kiln on, it will warm up to 300 degrees, and then it will burn out for a full hour at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And then it will ramp up. This is called ramping time. It can ramp up and take about 15 minutes for it to ramp up to 700 degrees. Our next temperature will be 700 degrees, and it will stay there at 700 degrees for 1 hour straight. So it's going to burn out for a complete hour at 700 degrees. Then it will ramp up to the next temperature, and we will set that at 1200 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's going to burn out for 1 hour at 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. That's our total 3 hours of burnout time. It is now finished, and we should have nothing left inside of that flask for us to actually cast our gold. Now, when you're casting gold, you have to understand that the flask must stay hot in order for us to pour the gold inside the flask. So in order for us to make sure that the flask does not cool down, we are going to add an extra hour for the flask to stay hot while we get prepared to burn out, to smelt the metal, to pour it into the flask. So we will let it bump down. It's going to ramp down to 1000 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's going to burn for 1 hour. So once it's burning for that 1 hour extra at 1000 degrees, I like to call this our preparation time. The reason why it's called our preparation time is because we would like to allow our smelter to warm up. We want to get our metal ready. We want to be prepared for once that machine is done burning out, it will shut off on us and it can get cold. So to not allow it to shut off on us automatically, we're going to add that extra temperature so we can stay warm and that we can pour the gold inside. Can you imagine what would happen if we poured melted gold inside of the flask while it's cold? What do you think would happen? Exactly. The metal will cool down. It will not get into all the places that you need to be for when you cast in your grills or your jewelry. So it must stay hot. So we're going to use this preparation time for us to get ourselves ready, turn on our smelter, because the smelter can take about 15 minutes to warm up. And once that's done warming up, it's still hot, we can take it out and then we can cast it. Okay, just say if you had a problem, you want to go to the mall, or your baby's crying or something like that, you just never knows what happens, and you don't want to step away and it start to cool down. But that extra hour give you that time frame to do whatever you have to do to fix any problems you have around the house. Now you might be wondering why I bumped it down to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit rather than keeping it at 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. Now the reason why I don't want to keep it that hot is because I feel as though it's unsafe to work with a flask at its highest melting point at 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. I'd rather bump it down to be safe at 1,000 degrees. And also, if you're doing vacuum casting, when you put this flask on your vacuum caster, it can end up burning your rubber seals, or it can catch on fire. This happened to me plenty of times before. Whenever I had to cast, it caught fire. So 1,200 degrees is very hot for this flask, and I want to make sure that I don't make no mistakes with it. Another question you might have is, what if I put this flask inside of the kiln and I bump it up straight to 1,200 degrees without allowing it to go from 300, 700 to 1,200 degrees? Now, working with investment, you have to allow this to warm up to get to its highest heated temperature. If you send it straight to 1,200 degrees, it can end up cracking this investment, and then you have to start the process all over. So allow it to have that time to ramp up 300, 700, 1,200 degrees so that it does not crack. Okay. Now, Grillz and Jury does burn out at different temperatures and different time frames. Grillz may burn out at 3 hours. Jury may burn out at 5 hours or 8 hours or 12 hours. It just depends on how big and how much wax is inside of your flask that you will up your temperatures, or you will up your time frame for your burnout process. But it's very simple for you to learn how to do it. So I hope this video helps you understand the burnout process. If you want to learn how to make Grillz and Jury yourself, you can either click our website and you can join our in-person masterclass, or you can join an online Grillz and Jury course and group. And if you need any equipment, make sure to visit our website so we can tell you exactly where to get all this equipment from. So I hope you'll be able to make your own piece of jewelry and cast properly. And like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.